Peter's going to run a poll. Can two tests or multiple assessments be used on one penetration? So if you want to pop that poll up, Peter. Wow, okay. 24 yes, 41 no, 35 unsure. Interesting.
So I'll close that down. So my mission for the next 2 minutes or 5 minutes maybe is just to give you our take on this, because we've had a great internal debate about this one. And we have a number of jobs or a number of situations where we get somewhat tricky and we've got to pluck a couple of different tests out and try and have a path for compliance that says I've got these two tests. You know, for example, I might have a copper pipe through the wall and I've got a perfect test for a corking that says that gets me 120 dash because it's metal pipes not wrapped. I can then put lagging on that through the wall, and with that assessment, I now get 120, 120. So we would use the fire rating assessment and the insulation assessment and say, here's our two assessments that make up that penetration. That happens universally on most sites. And but we've had a pushback. No, it's got to be exactly as tested. If you have a look at, 3.15 says, it's not allowed to differ from the tested system. That's been grabbed and I guess somewhat thrown back at us a lot. And it's sort of saying, what's the variation? Has that been tested? Show me the exact test for that. And we have thousands of variations. So it's not always allowed. I mean, here's a typical example. We've got an L500 box with a Premate Union FC collar on it, PVC pipe. You would see that in a lot of cases. Any certifier in the world would look at that and go, happy about that, wonder what's behind the box, but don't care because I have a 120 fire rated box, fully compliant, and I've got a collar on that box, fully compliant. Is that an assembly? Is that two tests? In Queensland, the box has got to be certified by a wall certifier and the penetration by a penetration certifier. So I've got two certificates. So it's one of those little debates, and I'm not sure I want to go totally down that rabbit hole. So another example of that would be, here's a wall, just a typical wall, doesn't matter which one it is, it's a Boral one, I think. And highlighted in yellow is there's actually 4 tests or assessments in that in the FRL, what forms the FRL. I know from research that one's the test for the wall, one's an assessment that says you can use multi-shield board. The other assessment says you can use studs higher, and I think the other one was about corking. You can have a bigger cork. So there was 4 assessments. If I use all those scenarios, I'd have to use 4 tests to certify it. So in that case, have I actually satisfied the requirement?
So take a deep breath. Now we'll run that poll again. See if you've convinced anybody otherwise, Peter. If you can just pop that poll up again.
It's one of those great decisions we have. The side problem with that is, or the side issue with that is, the BCA is about performance. Does this work? And then second part of that is, prove compliance. Show me that it doesn't work. So I might not end the polling on and probably because I'll share that. So for the no's and unsure.
So we've gone from 24 to 77% with the yeses, from 41 to 18 with the no's. So we've still got 5% unsure. That's good.
Yeah.
You've convinced somebody.
Yeah, I probably haven't convinced myself fully. I'm a little bit in the unsure, not from a performance point of view. I can look at 2 tests. We can do the bar chart. We can do all that and say this is absolutely going to work. From a compliance point of view, show me, prove it to me, do it to me. And if this is an issue for the industry, and I'm getting a little pedantic here about compliance. If this is an issue for the industry, then we need to deal with it. We need to come up with a. I'll stop
I've had a conversation with the test laboratory here on this issue because I think everything's going to be performance solution, and their opinion is that everything's going to be DTS. So if it's going to be DTS, can we test all these 3 things at once? And are there too many to test and to make it all DTS? Possibly not.